And welcome, Mindsetters, to this session of Learn Extra Live. We're looking at grade 11 maths literacy. I'm Ty, and I'm here with Peter, who's going to be taking today's session. Peter, what's happening today?
Well, hi, Ty. Well, first of all, we're doing the good old paper one basic concepts today. Now, I know that they come across rather easy and they seem a little bit simple and everything else, but let me just tell you, Ty, I gave my matrics their prelim paper back. They went through it, and I said to them, how many of you did not understand one of the questions? And not one put their hand up. They understood every single question, but not one of them got 100%. I got one with 99%, a few about 95, a few just in the low 90s, but no one got 100%. So why do people not get 100% if they understand everything? It's all because of those horrid, stupid, silly, careless mistakes. And that's what we're going to try and overcome today.
All right, that sounds like a plan.
So I'll go there and you do your thing.
Okay, so Mindsetters, you know the drill by now. Make sure you get on the page. Let me know what you guys are thinking. If you're lost in it, if you need help, make sure you post on the Facebook page. It's www.facebook.com/learnextra. Let me know what you guys are thinking. And if you don't post, as I always say, I can't help you because I can't read your mind through the TV. So make sure you let us know on the Facebook page so I can get those questions to Peter and we can help you guys out. But for me, that's where I now hand over to Peter. Peter, take it away.
Right, folk. And please remember, most importantly, that if you're matric watching this, this is for you, okay? Because there's a great overlap with the syllabus in grade 11 and grade 12. And you grade 11s watching this, remember this as well. Next year, when you're tuning into our program, don't just tune in for the grade 12 program, but you tune in for the grade 11 one as well. Because again, why? There's such an overlap. So some of these questions that are in grade 11 that we're going to go through today, you might even see them come up in one of your final papers in matric. Yeah. Now that puts a new perspective on things, doesn't it? Okay, then the other thing, I have a little confession to make here. We haven't got a lot of material to go through today because we're relying on you to send us some of your questions. So Ty's going to be at the computer. He's waiting to get any little problems or hassles that you might have picked up, whether it was in your June exams, okay, or whether it was just something you were doing in class. No matter what the question is, please send it through to Ty. He will let me know, and then we can answer your question on live TV. That sounds great. Okay, let's get on with today's program. So here we go. Do the following calculations. Show all calculations in full, and I want to underline that. Show all calculations in full. Now, folks, there's been a bit of a debate about this because some examiners are saying, you know what, if a person takes a calculator and does the whole calculation in one shot and gets the final answer, surely he deserves full marks for that. And that's one argument, and I know I'm a firm believer in that as well. However, there are other people that argue and saying, no, we want to see every step the student is doing so that we can pick up maybe 1 mark here or 1 mark there. Now, to me, doing a calculator work, you should only be worth 1 mark, quite frankly, because you're not doing any work. You're just pushing a few buttons. Okay. However, this question tells us, show all your working, and as a humble man, okay, I'm going to do just that. It's like when the examiner tells you to do something, it's like listening to your wife one day, guys. You just do it. It might not make sense to you, but you just do it anyway. All right, so let's have a look at it. First thing, write 47% as a common fraction. Okay. So 47%. Again, guys, we always say this. Soon as I hear that word percent, what do? I know percent means out of 100. So 47% is going to be 47 over 100. Okay? And we are asked to write it as a common fraction. So there it is, 47 over 100. Now, do I need to simplify it? Well, yes, I do, if I can. Now, how do I know if I can simplify it? In other words, how do I know if there's a number that'll go into 47 and go into 100, and in so doing is going to reduce my fraction? Well, you don't need to know that. Why? Because you have a calculator. And because you have a calculator, that's going to do the work for you. So let's have a look at this. Let's take out our calculator, and we're going to say, right, we have a calculator here. We're going to push our fraction button, and we're going to type it as we see it on the screen. 47 over 100 equals, and there's our answer, 47 over 100. In other words, folk, there's nothing that can divide into 47 and into 100 to reduce that fraction. So my answer then remains 47 over 100. So straightforward, so easy, so basic, okay? But yet, those are type of questions that you're going to find in your paper one. And remember, those are the type of questions you could make silly mistakes on. So although you practice the hard ones, make sure you practice those easy ones as well. So you can pick up that paper one mark. And if you do very, very well in paper one, let's say you get 90% for paper one. Yeah, that's phenomenal, because now that acts as a cushion for your paper two. So if you're wanting to get an overall mark of, let's say, 80% for Maths Lit, and I've got 90 for paper one, it allows me to get 70% for paper two, and so thus allowing me to get 80. That's if my year mark, my CAS mark is also 18. I just presume you've worked very hard during the year, and you've done very well in your assignments, and you've got a good CAS mark. Okay. Now, next question. Simplify, let's just go back here quickly. Write down, or write 78 over 120 as a decimal fraction. In other words, we're going to get 0, comma, something, 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 something. So how do we do that? Well, it's actually quite easy. All we're going to do is look at this and say, you know, when I see 78 over 120, it's the same thing as saying 78 divided by 120. So let's do that, and let's see what our calculator does. So on the calculator now take note, I'm not doing my fraction button. Why? Because if I use my fraction button, look what happens. I get an answer, it's simplified, but it's still as a fraction. It's not as a decimal fraction. Now listen, to decimal means there's got to be a decimal comma somewhere. So we've got to have a decimal comma. All right. So let's just have a look at that. Now, what I can do is once I've done it on my calculator, I push this S to D button. And you can see there's a little arrow on that calculator on your screen right now. And that S to D button, look what happens. When I push it, it becomes a fraction. When I push it again, it becomes a decimal fraction. So I've now got 0,65. And that's my answer. I could have as well have done the following. I could have said 78 divided by 120. And when I did that, I would get 13 over 20, push the S to D, and I get 0,65. So my answer, 0,65. Decimal, there's my decimal, okay? I trust you're understanding this, okay? I trust it's coming quite easy to you. You're now in grade 11. You should have had a lot of this practice, okay? But sometimes we still get mixed up between a common fraction and a decimal fraction. So remember, decimal, there has to be a decimal. Right, my next question says this. Do the following. Simplify 1,2 meters plus 23,5 meters times 5 minus 4,7 meters. Okay, now take note, folk, that this is worth 2 marks. And because it's worth 2 marks, and because the examiner has said to you, hey, show you're working, we've got to do that, because the examiner's now allowed a mark for that working. Right? If it was 1 mark, we would just put it straight in our calculator because we're going to get 1 mark for the answer. He's given us 2 marks, and he's given the instruction, show me what you're doing. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to say I've got 1,2 meters plus. Now, let's have a look at that. We're going to do this part first, the 23,5 times the 5. And once we've got that answer, we're going to fill it in. And that's probably where the examiner is going to give you that other mark. And so we've got to do as that examiner says and show him. Okay, so out comes my calculator. Hopefully, yeah, there she is. And I'm now going to say, right, 23.5 multiply that now by 5, and I'll end up with an answer of 117,5. So I've got 117,5 meters. Now, let's add up or let's just do this calculation. My calculator is going to do it for me, right? I've got, let's clear it, 1.2 plus 117.5, and then I didn't have a look at this, minus 4,7. Minus 4.7, and my answer then equals 114. And that's what we're going to write down here, 114. Not just 114 though, hey? 114 what? Let's have a look at the question. 1,2 meters plus 117,5 meters minus 4,7 meters. So if my question is giving me certain units, my answer's also got to give me those units. So I've got 114 meters, and that's my answer. Okay? Time to move on. Simplify. A third times 3 squared, 3 cubed, plus the square root of 64. Take note of this, folks. 3 marks. Yeah, now to me, that's worth 1 mark. But obviously, this teacher who set this specific question is testing her students or his students' ability to do little parts of the calculation. So she's saying, or he's saying, listen, I know you can do it in 1 step, but just show me the little bits. And guys, if a question is for more than 1 mark, this kind of thing, show your little bits, okay? Because you're going to get marks for it. Hopefully, if you just jump straight to the answer, you'll get full marks for having got it correct. But if you jump straight to that answer and you get it wrong, you're going to get 0. But if you show the little bits, this examiner is going to give you the marks. Okay. By the time you get to matric, guys, I don't know if you're going to get a question like this. And if you do, it's probably going to be worth 1 mark. We just want to see that answer. If you can't get that answer right, it's wrong. But let's have a look. So here I know. I've got a third times. Now I've got 3 cubed. And so many times people will look at 3 cubed and say, that's so easy. 3 times 3 is 9. And I presume our producer just said that as well back there, okay? I know that she sits there and calls out answers, okay? And she would have probably said this, this is easy, 3 times 3 is 9. But 3 cubed means 3 times 3 times 3. And we know that 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3, 27. But again, our calculator can do that for us. So what we could have done is we could have taken out our calculator. Oops, it came up and went away. It's back again. All right. We could have said, you know what? Let's find 3 cubed. Answer 27. And now what we're doing is we're going to try and find the square root of 64. What's that mean? It means what times what is going to give me 64. And we know that 8 times 8 is going to give me 64. Well, most of us know. If we don't know, use your calculator. So we're going to say, all right, I'm going to find the square root of 64 equals, voila, there it is, it's 8. So we're now going to write 8. Now what do we have to do? Well, now we've got to say, okay, let's do this part first. Why do we do this part first? Because multiplication always comes before addition. So we're going to say, what is 1 over 3 times 27? Or what's a third of 27? In other words, what times what times what, or what times 3 rather, is going to give me 27. And we know the answer's 9, but let's pretend we don't know that. And we're going to say, right, fraction button, 1 over 3 times 27 equals, and I get my answer of 9 plus 8. And folks, 9 plus 8 we know is 17. So there's nothing hard about that. However, I do want to bring one thing to your attention. This is what a student of mine did the other day. A third times 27. It wasn't the exact same sum, but it was something similar. And this is what they did on the calculator. Let's have a look at this. What they did was they said, right, I've got a fraction button, I've got a third, And then instead of coming out of the fraction, they stayed at that bottom line. So they said 1 over 3, now watch how it shows on your screen, times 27. Look what's happening. The 27 has just been multiplied by the 3 and not by the 1 over 3. And then they got this wonderful answer of 1 over 87. And was absolutely horrified as to why they got it wrong. Okay. And guys, you know what? And we say this often, and next year when you watch the grade 12 program, you're going to hear me repeat this over and over. But when you are writing that final matric paper, geez, you're anxious, you're nervous, you're tense, you're worried. And it's so easy to make silly, careless, ridiculous mistakes. It really is. And that's like one of them. Okay, so check yourself and always ask yourself, does my answer make any sense? Let's go on to our next one. Our next question is this. Calculate 14% VAT on 24,650. Oh my giddy aunt, we've done so many of those. Let me tell you something, grade 11. This kind of question comes up quite often in the matric final paper. You've got to know how to do it. Now, as soon as we see the word percent, I know that means over 100. So I've got 14 over 100. Multiplied by 24,650. So let's do it. So we're going to take our calculator, clear it, fraction button, 14 over 100 multiplied by 24,600, and I think it was 50, was it? It was indeed 50. Equals, and there's my answer, 3,451. 3,451 rand. Okay. These are basic little things, hey guys? But that's what paper one's all about, the basic things. And when you look at it, you sit there thinking, oh, that's so easy. Why is he even going through that? Well, if it's so easy, why doesn't the whole country get 100% for this paper? Okay? Why is it that so many people don't even get an A or a level 7 for this paper? 80%. Why? Because of silly mistakes. So you've got to practice, and we're going to do more and more and more, even in your grade 12 year. Let's move on. My next question. Convert the following. Oh, love these things, hey? Come up so often. Convert 1,500 Rand into euros. Use the conversion that 1 Rand is equal to 0.11 euros. So I've got 1 Rand equaling 0.11 euro. But I don't want to know the value of 1 Rand. I want to know the value of 1,500 Rand. So we need to say to ourselves, okay, myself, what did I do to that 1 Rand to make it 1,500 Rand? I multiplied by 1,500. So what am I going to do on the other side? The exact same thing. We're also going to multiply by 1,500. In fact, let me repeat that. We're not going to multiply. Our calculator is going to multiply. So out it comes. We clear our calculator and we say 0.11 multiplied by 1,500 Rand. Now, just want to ask you something before we look at the answer. Which has more value, the euro or the rand? And it's the euro, isn't it? Because 1 Rand is worth only 11 euro cents. Cool? So the euro carries more value. So if I've got 1,500 Rand, do I expect a smaller than 1,500 Rand, or do I expect an answer greater than 1,500? I'm expecting an answer smaller. Okay, hopefully. Let's have a look. See if our calculator agrees with us. And it does indeed. It's saying it's only worth 165 euros. Right. Time for a break?
I think so. That would be a good move.
Can I just ask before we have the break, though, are we having any questions or not yet?
Not as yet. Pretty much just everyone's enjoying the show, as per usual.
Grade 11s, I'm sure some of you have a question. I'm sure some of you have a problem. Please send it in to us while we've got this break. And who knows, we might just be mentioning your name on air. All right.
All right. So as Peter said, Hey, you never know. We might get a quick shout out there in. But make sure you get to the page and post. Let us know what you're thinking. If you're lost and if you need help, let us know. But for now, I'm going to see you after this break.